Welcome back. All right, career video time, and we're going to discuss Gump Worsley today. So I did verify that I have never done a video on Gump Worsley. Gump Worsley retired long before I started watching hockey. However, that is a name that everybody kind of knows, and Gump is kind of this. You'd be forgiven for thinking it was his first name. It was not. It was a nickname given to him. Based on his teammate Phil Watson thinking he looked like Andy Gump, who was a cartoon or a comic book character at the time. I did look up Andy Gump. I don't see the resemblance between Gump Worsley and Andy Gump, the comic character, but hey, the name stuck. His real name, Lorne John Worsley. So he's actually Lorne, became Gump. He was 5'7", and this is kind of what we talk about. You have a 5'7" goaltender. He was never seen as being in fantastic shape. Never really on the skinny side of goaltenders. So by today's standard, he wouldn't get a look. Nothing. I don't even think at a junior level he'd get much of a look as a goaltender. It is interesting to see how sometimes goaltenders are able to overcome that. And he kind of had to. So 52-53, he ends up being brought up by the New York Rangers. And the New York Rangers, in need of a goaltender, he plays 50 games. Now, the Rangers aren't good at this stage in time. He has 13 wins in those 50 games. That's sixth. Remember, there's only 6 teams in the league. His 29 losses are second. He had 8 ties, a 3.02 goals against average, and 2 shutouts. Save percentage was not tracked as of yet. He won the Calder Trophy. So he wins the Calder Trophy, and then he kind of decides he wants more money, according to one article I was reading. And the New York Rangers decided, no, we're not going to pay him more money. So they sent him down to the WHL to play with Vancouver Canucks. So, yeah, the Vancouver Canucks were a WHL team at this point. So he ends up playing a year down there. He becomes the only Calder winner ever to not play a single National Hockey League game the year after he won the Calder Trophy for a very not good Rangers team. Well, 54-55, still with the Rangers. He ends up playing 65 games as they bring him back up. His 15 wins are 4th overall, 33 losses and 7 ties. And when I went through year-by-year history, the year-by-year history of the NHL, and I've done it twice, it is amazing how bad the Rangers were and how everybody agreed without Gump Worsley it would have been worse. So he had the 7 ties, he had a 3.00 goals against average of 4 shutouts. So of his 15 wins, 4 of them were via a shutout. 55-56, he plays 70 games. Believe it was a 70-game schedule, so he didn't get a night off. He was second in games, so maybe a 72-game schedule. 32 wins, that's also second. 28 losses, that's third. 10 ties, 2.83 goals against average, 923 save percentage. So he was third in the NHL, and the save percentage tells you how good he was there. 4 shutouts, and then he makes his playoff debut. But remember, the Rangers aren't very good. 3 games, he loses all 3 of them. 4.6 goals against average, 860 save percentage. He was third in Hart voting that year. It was seen that he just dragged the New York Rangers into the playoffs that season. So 56-57, he plays 68 games, 26 wins. That's third overall. His 28 losses are also third overall. 14 ties, a 3.18 goals against average. His 907 save percentage is 5th in the National Hockey League with 3 shutouts. In the playoffs, he plays 5 games. Record of 1-4, 4.01 goals against average, 893 save percentage. Again, Rangers not really a playoff Stanley Cup contender at this point. Then 57-58, he plays 37 games, 21 wins, that's 4th overall. His 10 losses are 7th, 8 ties, 2.32 goals against average, 927 save percentage. He led the league in save percentage that season, and 4 shutouts. In the playoffs, 6 games, a record of 2-4, 4.61 goals against average, 871 save percentage. So, great regular season numbers, not great postseason numbers for 3 straight seasons. Think about current goaltenders right there. Anyways, 58-59, he plays 66 games that year. His 26 wins are 3rd overall. His 29 losses are 2nd overall, and he had 11 ties. 2.94 goals against average. His 908 save percentage was 3rd in the National Hockey League, and he had 2 shutouts. No playoffs because Rangers. 59-60, plays 39 games for the Rangers. 7 wins. So it's kind of a miserable time, you got to think. You're playing these games, you're playing well, you're not getting any wins. The 7 wins are still 7th overall. 23 losses is 3rd overall, 8 ties, 3.52 goals against average. His .897 save percentage was 6th in the league. No shutouts that season. 60-61, he bounces back. 59 games. His 20 wins are 4th overall. 29 losses are 2nd overall. 8 ties, 3.29 goals against average, but his save percentage, .913. So he's 4th in save percentage in the National Hockey League. He has 2 shutouts, and he goes to the All-Star game that year for the New York Rangers. 61-62, he plays 60 games that season, 22 wins. 4th again in that category. 27 losses, he's 1st there. 9 ties, 2.92 goals against average. His .912 save percentage is 4th. 2 shutouts, they're back in the playoffs. 6 games, 2-4 record, but his numbers get better here. 3.28 goals against average, .916 save percentage in the playoffs, and he did play in the All-Star game yet again. 62-63, plays 67 games. He's got 22 wins that season, which is 2nd in the league. 34 losses, that's 1st overall in the league. So he led the league in losses 2 years in a row. 10 ties, 3.27 goals against average, is .914 save percentage, good for 2nd overall in the NHL. This is why I like save percentage. His overall numbers are not great, and then the save percentage tells you he faced a lot of pucks. 2 shutouts that season as well. Then he gets traded. Now, there are a few different sources I used for this. One said that he got traded by the New York Rangers right after they had formed the Players Union. And if you've helped form the Players Union, ask Ted Lindsay how that goes. The league frowned upon it greatly. They did not like the creation of the union at all. They were paying these players very, very little, and they wanted to keep it that way. So June 4th, he is traded to the Montreal Canadiens with Dave Ballin, Leon Rochefort, and Len Ronson in exchange for Phil Goyette, Don Marshall, and Jacques Plante going to the Montreal Canadiens. No, going to the New York Rangers. Sorry. So Jacques Plante goes to the New York Rangers, and Gump Worsley goes to the Montreal Canadiens. Those are the key players there in that trade. So 63-64, well, Montreal's got depth in net, so he only plays 8 games. His 3 wins are still 9th in the league. His 2 losses are 10th in the league and 2 ties. 2.98 goals against average, .891 save percentage, 1 shutout, no playoff appearances. 64-65, he plays 19 games. His 10 wins are 8th overall. His 7 losses are 7th overall. He has 1 tie. 2.78 goals against average, .908 save percentage, 1 shutout. In the playoffs, 8 games, 5-3 record, and fantastic numbers. 1.68 goals against average, .936 save percentage, 2 shutouts. He played in the All-Star game that year, and he won the Stanley Cup. So, Gump Worsley has arrived with Montreal. 65-66, 51 games played is 28 wins. That's 2nd overall. 13 losses and 6 ties. 2.36 goals against average. .917 save percentage. That's 2nd overall. So his numbers are really good. 2 shutouts again. And then in the playoffs, 10 games, a record of 8-2. 1.99 goals against average. .931 save percentage. And 1 shutout. He wins the Vezina. And of course, the Vezina at this point is not via the vote. The Vezina trophy is just whichever team's got the lowest goals against average. 2nd team All-Star and a Cup winner. And the reason I bring that up is because there's no way that Gump Worsley wouldn't have won Vezinas during his time with the Rangers, because they were terrible. And he was fantastic. So absolutely would have won at least a couple of Vezinas, I would think, with the Rangers if we'd had a voting system then. 66-67, he only plays 18 games that year. 6 wins, that's 10th overall. 6 losses and a tie. 3.18 goals against average. .900 save percentage. 1 shutout. In the playoffs, he just plays the 2 games. He has 1 loss in those playoffs. 1.5 goals against average. .956 save percentage. No Stanley Cup there. 67-68, 40 games played, 21 wins. That's 3rd overall. 7 losses, 8 ties, 1.98 goals against average. It's pretty good. .922 save percentage. That's 5th in the league. 6 shutouts in the playoffs, 12 games. He won all 11 decisions. He factored into 1.88 goals against average, .930 save percentage, 1 shutout. He wins the Vezina. He's a 1st team All-Star and wins the Stanley Cup as well. So those are Those are some good numbers. 68-69, he plays 30 games, 19 wins, that's 7th overall, 5 losses, 4 ties, 2.26 goals against average, 920 save percentage, that is 4th in the league. In the playoffs, 7 games, a record of 5-1, 2.27 goals against average, 919 save percentage. Now, 69-70, he didn't play a lot, and there's a reason why. So he's 6 games into the season with the Montreal Canadiens, a record of 3-1-2, 2.33 goals against average, 915 save percentage, and he retires. Gump Worsley decides, he's terrified of flying. He doesn't like flying. He's had bad experiences flying. He had one terrible, horrifying flight flying that was so bad that the stewardess actually said, flight attendant, regarded as stewardess in what I was reading, but that's dated now. So flight attendant on the PA system in the airport said that if anybody on that flight needed help with their dry cleaning after that flight because it was so rough, to let the airline know, and the airline would help pay for it. And Gump Worsley apparently responded to that with, do they cover my underwear as well? So apparently that was a tough time, and it was tough enough that he didn't want to fly. He was done. And the NHL's expanded now to 12 teams. And he doesn't want to get on an airplane, so he decides, I'm going to go home. So he goes home. Eventually, he gets a phone call from Lou Nanne, the general manager of the Minnesota North Stars. Nanne offers him money for each win and each shutout that he gets with the Minnesota North Stars, and basically tells him, look, Minnesota's right in the middle of the country. We don't travel as much as other teams do. If you play for us, it's not going to be as big of an issue. And he talks him out of retirement. So the Montreal Canadiens are like, fine. February 27th, he is traded to the Minnesota North Stars in exchange for cash. That was a thing. It became future considerations. I saw it as cash on one site, and another one said he was traded for future considerations. Yeah, it was just money back then. And they wouldn't even specify how much cash. Could be $10, could be $1. We know there was a famous trade for $1. So 69-70 with Minnesota after he's talked out of retirement. 8 games, a record of 5-1-1, 2.65 goals against average, 930 save percentage, and a shutout. Not bad for a guy who they had to talk out of retirement. In the playoffs, 3 games, a record of 1-2. His numbers kind of rough. 4.67 goals against average, 880 save percentage. The Minnesota North Stars, of course, one of the new franchises in the NHL, and they had their struggles. 70-71 kind of just shows us that. 24 games, a record of 4-10-8. And I love that the other numbers tell you he played pretty well. A goals against average of 2.5, 920 save percentage, no shutouts. 4 games in the playoffs, a record of 3-1, 3.25 goals against average, 888 save percentage. So 71-72, he plays 34 games. During his time in Minnesota, this is the most games he would play in a season for him. 16-10-7 record, 2.12 goals against average. His 933 save percentage was second in the National Hockey League. Keep in mind that this is still that 5'7" goaltender who's been in the league for about 20 years and doesn't wear a mask. So while other goaltenders are putting masks on, including the aforementioned Jacques Plante, Gump Worsley is not. He's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And we're going to talk about how crazy that is when we get down into this section. But yeah, so 4 games in the playoffs in 72, record of 2-1, 2.17 goals against average, 935 save percentage. He had a shutout. He also appeared in what would be his final All-Star game that year. Then in 72-73, plays 12 games, 6-2-3 record, 2.88 goals against average, 906 save percentage. 73-74, what would prove to be his final season in the National Hockey League, still with Minnesota. 29 games, a record of 8-14-5, 3.23 goals against average, 901 save percentage, which is 10th in the league, no shutouts. So his totals end up being 861 games played, which is a lot for a goaltender. 333 wins, that's 27th overall. His 349 losses are 5th overall. 149 ties, 2.87 goals against average during his career. His 43 shutouts are 42nd on the all-time list. In the playoffs, 70 games, a record of 40-26, 2.78 goals against average, 911 save percentage, and 5 shutouts. So I did mention the fear of flying. He only wore a mask for his final 6 National Hockey League games. Finally, like, all right, fine, I'll put one on. He's the second to last goaltender who played without a mask. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1980. And he was, as I mentioned, traded after the creation of the union. So that was a big deal back then. You created that union, you were kind of blackballed a little bit. Now he got injured on a shot by Bobby Hull. Bobby Hull, one of the first slap shot players in the National Hockey League. And so he took the puck right to the forehead. It knocked him out cold. He went straight to the hospital. And this is in 1961. This is way before he wore. This is 13 years before. He's like, fine, I'll put on a mask. I can't imagine. So when he wakes up and basically talks about what happened and all this, he says, good thing the puck hit me flat, when he's asked about how he's feeling. So, true, it's better the puck hits you flat than, edge on, but still, those Bobby Hull slap shots, wooden stick or not, they still would have had some speed to them, and it's a good thing he was able to keep playing. So, I would imagine he probably played with a concussion. I'm going to go ahead and guess he had a concussion from that one if it sent him to the hospital, and he was probably right back in the lineup not too long after that, because it's just a brain injury. I'm old enough to remember when that was kind of how it was. Like, it's just a concussion, he'll be fine. So, yeah, anyways, we used to kind of have a laugh about it. But yeah, so there you go. The career of Gump Worsley, one of the more entertaining careers in the National Hockey League's history, and it's finally covered on this channel. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.